Christmas lights in the back, so that's pretty festive. And speaking of festive, we are live here on Facebook and on YouTube, so thanks for joining in. We are live reality games. We cover everything from Sequester to Survivor Boston, which we're covering here today. We took a stab at the totem pole, and we can't wait to check out everything else happening here in 2021 coming up very soon. But today, like I said, we are here discussing season 4 of Survivor Boston, Palamedes. We are joined, of course, with Nathan. Nathan, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. This was an awesome episode. I'm so excited because this is everything that we wanted a merge episode to be. And in recent years in regular Survivor, it's kind of been let's just go with the easy person. And this had shifting groups. It had devious strategy and an epic blindside. So I'm overjoyed by this episode, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Me too. I'm not even getting to Jonathan yet, but this episode was amazing. So everybody that has not watched Survivor Boston, you have to catch up. Make it to this episode. Catch up with us because you are missing out on a great season. Jonathan joins us from season 2. Jonathan, welcome.
Hello. I'm so honored to be on, especially an episode as amazing as this one. It's just perfect.
And everything from the challenge, from the Temple of Risk, which we'll get to the voting, to the strategy, to the everything in this production. It looked amazing. There's lots of little weird Easter eggs here, which we'll discuss too. But before we get any further, we do have a spoiler alert. So if you have not caught up on this amazing season, on this episode, pause this, go back, watch it, and catch up. So we are joined here with the latest eliminated player, unfortunately, Maddie.
Hello.
Maddie, how are you doing?
I'm good. I love hearing how excited people are by the episode I Go Home. So, but no, I'm doing good. It was a really fun episode to watch, honestly. It's been a couple years since it came out, and so it's cool getting to watch it now that I feel like all the bad blood is in the past, and it's just I feel like I'm watching it from a fan perspective, and it's really fun to watch and see how everything kind of happened, because even though I kind of knew, it was there were definitely still some surprises.
And no surprise here, Jacob saying Maddie and Jonathan, two of his
sweet
favorites. So congratulations. And it's not that we're excited to see you here, Maddie, by any means. We're excited for the episode. You were really super strong in the season, and I really did not expect to see you here so soon. Nathan, do you think so as well?
No. I really felt like you were in a good spot. You had people willing to work with you. You even managed to flip Jackie to your side for a moment, and you had everything. You had everything going for you at one point. So somehow it fell apart, and maybe it kind of seemed like Finn was your downfall, but one little crack in the wall, and it all came tumbling down.
I'm curious to see. I think we mentioned this early on in our podcasting for the season. Did you have any kind of rivalry with Madison? I know there's Maddie, Madison. Was that a going thing with the two of you? A little bit of tea there, maybe?
No, there was really no previous rivalry. I think I just recognize, I think even in the first episode, we were both the ones that were meeting with everyone on the tribe, and I feel like I just got the sense that we were going to be similar, and I feel like I think I would just act a lot on instinct during the show, and so I think I just acted on instinct that we would be similar, and that I could tell she was also an aggressive player, and so then I that was really where the beef, but I didn't know her before, and then I think she's a lot nicer in her confessionals than I thought while I was playing the game. I don't know. I was oh, I guess I was the mean one and the really aggressive one.
I had the theory that that it was a name jealousy, that you just wanted to be the only Maddie or Madison on your tribe or on the show. So you're I have to get Madison out, so I'm the supreme Maddie.
No, maybe subconsciously, but not consciously. Consciously, it was purely strategic to get her out.
Well, speaking of strategic decisions, you made a strategic decision in joining the cast. What was the experience of you signing up for Survivor Boston?
Oh, this is actually a really funny story. So I actually initially went out for season 2,
Oh, with
and
Jonathan.
I didn't know that.
yes, yeah, I did. I don't know, Jonathan, if you know this story, but I went out with Tony Biancanello, who was on season 3, and we both loved Big Brother, and we were roommates our sophomore year of college, which is when they were casting for season 2. And we both loved Big Brother, and we were like, let's go out for Survivor. And we were like, what's going to give us this edge on our application? And we were like, neither of us having seen Survivor before, we only both had watched Big Brother. We were like, ooh, let's go in together and be first, because that will give us an edge. And we like went in to the interview together, and we're like, let's here's our plan, here's our master plan. We're going to be put on different tribes. Like we're telling like Jacob and Charlie like exactly how like they like how they're going to split us up. Like you put us on different tribes, and then we're going to talk to each other, and then like we're going to have a cross tribal alliance. Like we thought it was genius. And then neither of us got cast. And then I don't know if and then neither of us got cast. And then I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I'm going to say it anyways. And then I did get an offer
Spoiler
to be
alert.
part
That's
of the
what we
cast.
can say. Spoiler alert. That's
I
what
did
we can
get
do.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I did get an offer to be part of the cast. I think I was like an alternate for someone else. And then I turned it down because I was like, I don't know why I did. I think I was like, I don't want to be an alternate. And then I didn't go out again until season 4. And then I got on the cast for season 4. And then I was really excited because I was like, I wouldn't have won season 2 because there were so many good players, but then I did win season 4. So
I think in general, season 4, like we've said multiple times on these podcasts, Survivor season 4 of Boston, amazing game players like throughout the board here. So really rough competition.
Well, some more amazing than others, but we can get to that.
So Maddie, what was your thoughts about you finally got cast and then you get into this group and there's all these new people? Some maybe are a little bit familiar with you, but what's your take first day?
It's like I'm trying to go back to how I felt back when we were filming, because I also feel like I was such a different person back then too. Like I feel like the first day I was very like, I was so serious. And I feel like you can tell just from my confessionals, like I was just taking it so seriously, obviously. And I feel like when you play the game, I don't know if other people feel this, if other season 4 people are watching, like let me know. But I feel like you feel so guarded because like, I don't know, you don't want to like let people in on your personality and stuff and just like your thoughts. And so I think walking in the first day, I was very just like, I was just like in game mode, ready to like observe, and was just I can see it on my face. Maybe it's because I know myself, but I'm looking at my face during the first day and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like so intense for what? And yeah, but I did recognize a lot of people playing the game, and I was really close friends with Austin. And I think I knew Zach, but we weren't close at that point. And I didn't know Swetha, who was my other close ally during the game. And I knew Finn the same level I knew Zach probably. And I knew, like, there were some people that I knew, but really Austin was like my only friend going into the game. I'm pretty sure. I like hope I'm not like forgetting someone. That would be really embarrassing. But yeah, so like, I don't know. It was like,
everyone kind of knew Austin too.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Everyone kind of knew
definitely
Austin.
Like, yeah, everyone knew Austin. Austin was an RA, and I was really close with Austin because he was my big brother in our fraternity sorority. So like we were really close. He's like a really close friend of mine. So I was like excited to be with him. And then we didn't get put on the same tribe, obviously. And but yeah, I think I was more excited though that there were people I didn't know because I think I was nervous about knowing so many people, which is like why I was glad that I was cast on season 4 and not season 2, because I think there was so many people on season 2 in my year, whereas like I think season 4 there was a lot more diversity in the types of majors and like the years of people, and I feel like that made it a lot more fun to play because it's like that's a hard thing about college survivors, like you know so many people, and I think it was just I met a lot of like really cool people like through it.
Well, I feel like I have to ask, now that this has been brought up a couple of times, Jonathan, how do you think Maddie would have done on your season?
That's a really good question. I think it partially depends on the tribe breakdown. But I mean, I'd like to think that Maddie and I would have worked together. Whether or not that would be good or bad for our games, another another story. But I think season 2 and season 4 definitely were kind of similar in just high level, sort of like very gameplay oriented, and so I think in that way would have translated well.
I think in general, like the gameplay from Survivor Boston compared to some other colleges, everyone every season has been, from what I've seen, a pretty good game player. I did watch Beacon Hill season 3. I haven't quite caught up with season 2 yet, Jonathan, so I don't know, but best of luck to you in the season. I know I'm sure it's like 4 years ago, but it seems really well played. Maybe it's just the mentality being at Emerson. You're like, I got to compete. I got to be the best. Is that kind of like the thought process with Emerson? Are you pretty competitive just in general?
That could be part of it. I think most of it is that like people are either like a big Survivor fan, or and Maddie and Tony and other people's case, big like just reality TV fans. So that just gives like that extra kind of competitive edge to it.
Yeah, I think from what I remember from I watched the first couple episodes of your season, Jonathan, and I think the thing that both your season and Maddie's season, well, Maddie in particular, is that you both of you start off being really savvy and being just completely, your heads are in the game from the get-go, and I think that's really the mark of a really good player in something like this, where you're able to, assess your situation, see where you're at, and be kind of have the sense of whether to make a move or not right away. I mean, most people, it kind of takes them a few rounds to get their feet wet under them, and you were ready to go right from the get-go.
I mean, Maddie, you made the first blind side. That is all credit towards you. So congrats, getting my first winner's pick out first. So thank you. I'll bring that up again.
Oh my god.
It was a really good move for you.
It
was obviously she was playing a strong game. You were playing a strong game, and that's what went with it.
Can you explain a little bit? So I got a good sense of you connecting with Swatha pretty early, and Zach, and kind of having them close to you. Can you tell me about your relationship with Anna? Because especially in this episode, it seemed like she was a little bit back and forth. She's kind of been a little bit back and forth for the whole season. What was it like pulling her in as the 5th person into your alliance?
I mean, I think with Anna, I definitely initially I really liked working with her, but I mean I think she was right in her confessionals where I guess I don't know I feel like I think it was the tribe swap that we kind of lost connection because we weren't on the same tribe anymore, but I feel like I always still felt like we were going to work together, and I thought that it was when we get to merge, we're going to reconnect, and I was not super shocked, but I was shocked that so early on she was making confessionals about, how she was going to turn the tables and everything. I was like, wow. I did not realize that, but I remember at merge, there was I did have a lot of confessionals at merge where that was when I started getting suspicious. So I think I ended up catching on that I felt like she was going to turn on me. Like, sorry, I'm talking so slow because I'm so scared of like saying something I'm not supposed to. But I think at merge, I started to get more suspicious of her. I was not suspicious at all before. And at merge, I started to get suspicious. And in my post, after I get voted off, like I say something that's like, I hope people are like catching on to what I said about Anna. And there's no confessionals that like show it. But I had some like that makes no sense out of context. But basically there were a ton of confessionals just that week only that I was like, I feel like I was just getting a gut feeling that like something was wrong. And I was like, I feel like Anna is going to turn on us. I didn't think it would be that week, but I was just like, I just think we should be. I remember talking to Swetha, and I think I might have talked to Zach too about just being like, I think we should just be careful because I feel like that's just something to be aware of, like as we're going into the merge. And then obviously like I was still totally blindsided. But I think I feel like my relationship with Anna was genuine at first. And then I think as it went along, she just, I think I was getting so, honestly, like a little bit overconfident in my alliances. And I think she was then starting to catch on and like just played her own game, which is like cool. Like I was like, good for you. Bad for me.
Gianna wants to say you're the hero, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, the level of gameplay that you did, maybe you were just getting a little bit too comfortable in like the four of you. You were connecting with Swetha, with Zach, with Finn. Maybe you were just getting a little stagnant with that group, and you kind of forgot to bring Carly along, to bring that fifth person along, possibly.
Yeah, I think so. And I think I feel like I was definitely just getting really comfortable in my alliance, and I was also just like I think I made that big power play in the beginning, and then I was trying to hang really low, and then I feel like by doing that I kind of became like a little bit complacent in the game because I was like trying not to like make any huge moves at the merge. But looking back, it's like, yeah, why on earth would we vote out Hallie at the merge when there's like so many huge players? Like looking, and at the time it just made so much sense with all the conversations happening, but it's like it's almost like the same thing that happened with the Madison vote, where it's like, why would we vote out someone easy when there's so many other big players? And so I think I just wasn't really thinking about that because I feel like I got so caught up in like my mindset, and I was like not thinking about, I feel like I just started slacking about thinking of what other people would be thinking of, Yeah,
do you think if you pointed out a bigger target than Hallie, that would change things? And who would that have to be?
Oh, wait, can you say that again? I broke up for a second.
Sorry, do you think that like if you had pointed out a bigger target that would have worked? And if so, who would have been the name?
Like, it's tough because I feel like I was just seen as a big player, and I don't know like who I would have. I mean, I think Anissa probably, that was the other name we were talking about that week. But then there were all these reasons that we didn't do anything, and I don't know like what I would have done differently. It's so hard because it's like I think I still would have just been in the same mindset of like I don't want to be the one to do anything, but it was like I don't. So if there were another big name, I would have totally jumped in on it. But I mean, I was the big name, so I don't know. But yeah, I guess Anissa probably would have been who I would have voted out if like we thought that through a little more. But I think it was tough.
In an early episode, you had a conversation with Swetha. You two were expressing some concerns really early. I think this was in episode 2 about Finn. You had some distrust in Finn. So I was thinking after Nathan's question, you possibly were going to say Finn. Did you ever doubt Finn at that point?
I did doubt Finn, but I didn't, and I knew Finn would turn at some point. I think I was always like, I was getting suspicious of Finn and Anna, and I think I was suspicious of Finn first, but I didn't think Finn would flip that early. I didn't think that would happen at the merge vote, just because I felt like we had the numbers. So I thought that at least for that vote, it was fine to vote out Hallie, because in my mind, I was like, I think voting out Hallie was just like, I didn't want to cause a lot of ripples between the two tribes. And also, I felt like we had the numbers with our original tribe. So why not just vote out Hallie, who I feel like right now she, was fine leaving the game. Like, so I thought, so I feel like, yeah, I don't know. It's so tough, but I definitely did not think Finn would flip that early.
I want to rewind a little bit. Can we go to your original tribe after Madison's been voted out, when there is Carly and Max and Marlon kind of on the other side of the tribe? And you end up deciding to go and vote out Max. And what was your thinking there? Because Carly ended up being somebody who turned on you. Max was, his own character. But tell me about the Max decision.
The Max decision was such a horrible decision, honestly. Like, I think that was like, I don't know if it would have changed my fate in the game, but I definitely, I don't know. It's so hard because Max was like, it's so tough. But the Max decision was made honestly just out of like paranoia, because it was like me and Zach. I don't feel like my relationship with Zach is like showcased as much, but like Zach was like my closest ally initially, just because I knew him going into the season, and like we were both on like this similar level of like wanting to play the game. And I was also really close with Swetha, obviously, but I was really, really close with Zach at first, and like we definitely did not we thought we were being like so much more subtle than we actually were, I feel like. But I think when Max had come to Zach and been like, I know you and Maddie are in an alliance, that like really freaked us out, and we were like, we have to change this vote. But then like in hindsight, it's, like obviously hindsight's 2020, but in hindsight it's like, if he knew that, then Carly knew that, so like why would we not vote out Carly? I don't know. I just feel like honestly the Max vote made no sense, but at the time it was just acting on like paranoia. But the bigger question that I have for myself is, why did I write down Carly's name? Because that explanation made absolutely no sense. I was like watching that and I was trying to comprehend. It was like the meme with the math over the face, and I'm like, what am I saying? This utter nonsense. Why I voted for her. Utter nonsense. I don't know why I did that.
Honestly, I was a little disappointed with Anissa not voting for Carly when she was trying to throw the vote there. So I was like, oh, all these throw votes to Carly, to Carly, to Carly. And then she had to switch it up for that last episode, which is all right. It worked out in her favor, and I'm sure it doesn't matter who essentially she voted for in that flip vote. But it seemed like all these stray votes were ending towards Carly, like out of nowhere. Just, oh, there's a vote for Carly. There's a vote for Carly. Doesn't matter. So.
And what about Marlon? Like, you seemed at one point you thought maybe you had Marlon on your side, and it seemed like that never really panned out. What happened there? Did you ever talk to him?
I feel like one of the issues on our old tribe is that I feel like the lines were drawn in the sand so early, and it just felt like anytime I would have a conversation with like Marlon or Carly or something, it just felt like really fake, because it was, I don't know, like I feel like I could have really tried harder, but I think people just knew that I was up to no good, and I never got a chance to really like connect with Marlon, but I really liked him as a person. And I don't know. That was like also a mistake, going back to just like being so set in my alliance and like comfortable with my alliance, that I was kind of like, oh, like if blank is close, like if Carly is talking to Swetha, if someone else is if Anna's talking to Marlon, then like I'm fine, you know? Like I didn't want to be the one that was talking to everyone. So I think at the time I was rationalizing it as like, if I'm not the one talking to everyone, but the people that are talking, but I'm aligned with people that are talking to those people, then it's okay, you know? But yeah, I don't know. That was a mistake.
That is always the difficulty, though, when you're like in a solid group and you're trying to like evaluate like whether or not to kind of, I guess, like reach across the aisle, because you can easily be pinned as like, oh, they're talking to everyone, they're a social threat. But at the same time, if you don't have those connections, then you can end up with people flipping on you later on.
Mm-hmm.
Just a shout out here from the audience at home. Olivia, Maddie, you are perfect. So congratulations.
Oh my gosh, I love you, Olivia.
One of the most perfect moments I felt from this season so far. There was just a little snippet. The contestants were singing you happy birthday.
We're singing me happy birthday?
Mm-hmm. I thought so, according to my notes.
Which episode was it?
Let me pull up my notes. It was.
Wait, I don't think it's me. I think it was Jackie. I think it was Jackie's birthday. My birthday is in.
Well, never mind. It was a perfect moment for Jackie, I guess. So, and then you have another friend here also doing a little shout out for you, Maddie. So.
Oh. So cute.
You have a fan club for them. And us, of course.
My face is like getting so red.
Mine too. After messing that wonderful like segue up, I was like, "Oh, hey, I thought it was your birthday, but happy early birthday."
We can pretend.
Totally. And the host just chimed in too, so it was definitely Jackie's birthday.
So I do think this going back a touch, I do think this raises an interesting question, because like you were kind of like, you know, the head of the alliance, the figurehead, the person out in front. So like, how do you play this game? You know, one thing that was coming to my mind as you're talking about like how do you approach the other side, I'm thinking, and Maddie, you mentioned you probably haven't seen this, but in Survivor Ghost Island, Dominic Abate, you know, reaches out to Chelsea, and she's not like in with him necessarily, but he's like, hey, let's just like share information. Let's just agree to share information with each other, you know. So it's not like an agreement to look out for each other, it's just an agreement to share information. And maybe like if you kind of like threw olive branches out like that, like let's to say, hey, let's have some kind of connection, not necessarily saying we're going to promise to not vote for each other, but just let's feed each other something. Maybe that would be enough to, you know, make people feel comfortable enough with you being out in front, because they feel like they're getting something from you. What would you think about doing something like that?
You know, Nathan, that is a fantastic point and not something that I really considered. But I think, because I think I did have some of those relationships, but I feel like that's like such a good point, and like something I definitely could have done more with like people that I wasn't working with. But I guess I did kind of have that with Jackie a little bit once we merged. Like there's that one conversation of us talking, and I think we were starting to like have that relationship. But I feel like I also just would get like I was saying before this, I feel like I'm a very blunt person, and I don't love lying. I hate lying. I'm a horrible liar, actually. Like in real life, I'm just the worst liar. Never want to play poker ever. I don't know. I just like get so nervous lying, and I think I would just get. I think I was just like such a bold player that sometimes I was like, I don't want to be fake. I know it doesn't seem like that. I feel like I seem so like mean and like cutthroat, but I really was like, I don't want to be fake. Like, I was just like, why am I gonna talk to this person if I'm planning on voting them out? So I just like didn't think about that. I was like, they can know I'm gonna vote them out.
And one of those places where you really were showing that, you know, is after the swap when you're working with Austin, and it's like and you and you're blatantly, that's just where you're at in the tribe. You really want to work with Austin. Um, and that round I feel like was really pivotal for you. Can you tell us more about what happened with the Austin vote and what, from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, the Austin vote, obviously, I did not want Austin to go home because even out of people on my tribe, like I was the closest with him and Swetha out of my swap tribe. I was the closest with him and Swetha, and I didn't want him to go home. But what kind of happened was that me and Swetha were basically kind of forced against a wall to vote for him because it was like Finn and Carly sitting us down and telling us who were the other two members of our tribe, of our previous tribe, and telling us, basically we're going to vote Austin because we have the numbers, whether you're there or not. And it's kind of like, what do you do at that point? And I really wish that Austin bluffed about the idol thing. Watching that, I was like, why did we not go through with that? But I feel like by that point, we kind of already had come to terms with the fact that Austin was going to have to leave because Swetha and we were going back and forth, like, we didn't tell Austin at first. We were just like nervous. And then we ended up telling him because I was like, I don't know. We were just like, he's our friend. And I think there's nothing we can do to really save him. I wish we told him earlier, honestly, but we did end up telling him. But yeah, it was kind of just like, we didn't really have a choice, it felt like. But I definitely wish that we would have not lost him because I think both of us would have been in and Swetha would have been in a good place going into the merge, even though I think already going into the merge, I mean, if we went into the merge like that, people would have been saying, that we're all friends and whatnot. But I mean, we would have definitely had, more numbers, and then that would have just helped us a lot, I think.
Now, how soon did you tell him? You said you wanted to tell him a little bit sooner. Looking back at it, did you tell him right when they all sat down for voting? You were like, "Hey, we're voting you out, friend," or was it as you were walking into the room?
It was in the bathroom 5 minutes before, and we forgot to film it, and Jacob and Charles were very upset that we did not film it. But but we told him because I don't know. It was I don't know. We should have filmed it, but it was a
moment.
We didn't think about it at the time.
It was a friend moment. It wasn't a game moment. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We were just talking to him as a human and as a friend. And yeah, it was 5-10 minutes before we went into tribal. We were like, "Can we talk to you in the bathroom?" And we were like, "You are going home tonight." And he was like, "I could figure that." Just because when I had talked to him in that clip of both of us, of me and Austin talking, I was again, I'm a horrible liar. I was being so suspicious, and he could tell that something was up. And yeah, so it was 15 minutes before we told him.
A little bit of a behind the scenes. Sounds like you all tried to recreate it as they do in the real Survivor show, but your acting couldn't pull it together. Come on, you kept giggling, so it was a serious moment.
Yeah,
we couldn't bring back the atmosphere, I guess.
I remember we all had different hair, and so we were like, "How do we do this?" And we were like, "Let's put blankets over our heads and go into Austin's bathroom, and pretend we are 2 years in the past." And it just we're we can't do this.
Austin is tuning in, and he says that every vote was a blindside so far. They didn't want to do him dirty, which, as good friends as they are, it was much appreciated. So just bringing them into the bathroom. So that was nice.
Is that what happens before tribal? Everyone just congregates in the bathroom?
Kind of. I would get so nervous before tribal that I would constantly hide in the bathroom because I wanted to avoid looking at whoever I was voting out. And yeah, I think people go into the bathroom. People just avoid being in the same space as each other before tribal just because you just don't want to. It's so nerve-wracking. Yeah, it's the most nerve-wracking thing. There's also a lot of people coming from different clubs and stuff because everyone's super busy. I feel like that plays this game.
Isn't that more suspicious than like if you just sat right down and acted comfortable?
Probably. Oh, yeah. So true. I don't know. Like, I don't know why we do that. I'm sure, no, we definitely do, like, sit down, and we'll just, like, catch up. Like, we just sit outside of whatever room we're about to go into, and we'll just, like, talk like normal. And it's kind of nice. Like, I actually do feel like sometimes those moments before Tribal, if it's not, like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of times moments before Tribal are where you really get to, like, know people on a personal level, because you can't really talk about the game as much, and so you're just kind of talking about what people's days are like, which is actually really nice.
A little bit of small talk here and there.
It's a weird fusion of like that kind of jittery energy mixed with just like, okay, at this point our plans are kind of set, so like we might as well just like relax before like we have to go into full stress mode.
I mean, the tradition of
Jonathan,
bathrooms
did you
are
hide
very
in the
important.
bathroom?
I mean, I would usually like go to like the Max, which is like our cafe, like right before, and I'd just get like a snack beforehand to like calm my nerves.
So many people
Yeah.
eat during Tribal. Like, Hallie
Yeah,
had a
like
giant bag of chips or something. And I'm like, isn't this bad for the sound quality? Like,
They
why?
are busy college students. They're probably starving right now, Nathan.
I'm still confused.
I just surprised they allowed it.
I'm like still confused if that was planned. Like, I don't, because I remember like watching that Tribal, and everyone that was blindsided during that Tribal, we were like, oh man, like, feel bad for Hallie. She's like sad and is like upset that she's going home. And I guess if anyone from season 4 is watching, or Jacob and Charlie, was that planned that she was, because I feel like she looked like very upset, and I don't know, like I was like, was that an act, or was she just, having a day where she was like, I want to eat during the Tribal?
She did vote for you, so there had to be some knowledge of what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess.
Yeah.
At the
But
same
I was like,
time,
damn.
At the same time, she did seem like she was very stressed out from everything, and she had a lot going on. And it happens in these longer survivors too, as like the actual one. You get fatigued from playing all this like strategic conversation you're having. It takes a toll on you. And I think Hallie is such a nice person in general. Probably all this gameplay really wore on her. Jacob is tuning in. Oh, yes, they were both screaming at Hallie. Yes. Chew quietly, I guess, is the rule of thumb for the song.
There's no way to eat chips, like a bag of chips, quietly, though.
I forgot if it... go ahead.
No, you go, Jonathan.
I was just gonna say, I distinctly remember one moment in season 3 when I was on crew where they put like M&Ms in like the immunity idol, and we're just like snacking out of it. I forgot if it actually like made the video, but like that was probably the most egregious moment of snacking during Tribal.
See, now in One College Survivor, they played snacks on purpose. So the idol was hidden underneath the bench at the Tribal. So they were like, oh, let me go get my snacks and this idol at the same time. So they played snacks to their advantage in that one. So,
Maddie, did you ever bring snacks to Tribal?
I don't think so. I don't think I did. I was honestly probably, again, I'm like such a nervous person. I was probably like, I can't eat, I can't do anything except for like go hide in the bathroom.
So we're moving. So we get through the Austin vote, and then you're looking. You have the Anthony vote, and you're just kind of going down the line. Did you have why Anthony over Big H? Did you think that you weren't able to work with him, or was it just kind of the obvious choice at that point?
I think Anthony just seemed like a much bigger threat between him and Big H, just because I feel like, I think it was the whole thing with Austin, and I kind of felt like, oh, if Anthony was targeting Austin, I guess I didn't understand that people didn't realize me and Austin were friends. Like, I really thought that everyone was like, Austin and Maddie are so tight. But obviously people were like No, it's Austin and Swetha.
Because they walked in the room together.
I love the replay of that, like, in almost every episode.
Yeah, it's so funny. But and they are like really close, but I guess I thought that everyone was like gonna target me because they thought that I was close to Austin. And so since Anthony did not get along with Austin and was like the most outspoken about not getting along with Austin, I think that was like the biggest reason. And also because I think it was easier to target Anthony over Big H because there were just more reasons at the time to target Anthony.
Okay, if only you had gotten, if only somehow you had gotten rid of Swetha early on, then Austin would have been kept in the game, his threat would have been lowered, and no one would have any clue that you and him were working together, and you could have made it from the merge onward. It seems like how it should have gone.
But Swetha is my ally. Why would I couldn't do that?
Well, you voted out
That would
Austin.
make no sense for my game. I know, but that's true. That's true. But I don't think me and Swetha, I didn't realize like how much people were targeting both of us. Like I think we figured our names were in people's mouths, but like it's just like funny because I mean Swetha especially was like when she started the game like hadn't like that Austin was saying this in his interview, like they both like didn't really realize that was going to be an issue walking in together. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't in the cards for me at the time.
So then we get to the merge. So Maddie, what was your plan going into the merge? Did you have a like someone from that you wanted to connect to? I mean, you obviously were talking to Jackie. Did you have any plans of like what your numbers were going to be?
I felt like pretty set for the first merge vote, and I thought after that first merge vote was when things were going to start like getting a little like messy. But I felt like going into the merge, I thought our numbers were going to be me, Zach. I mean, I guess what you would expect. I thought it was going to be me, Zach, Anna, Swetha, Finn, and then I felt like I could get Jackie on board. And then I was never sure. I was always feeling like once we got to the merge that Carly and Marlon were going to flip. And then, but I felt like we could get Jackie on board. And then I thought we had like the other 5 of us. And so that's why I think I felt so confident going into Tribal, because I was like, oh, either way, like I felt really good after that conversation with Jackie. And I was like I wasn't thinking about keeping tabs on like everyone else. So I was like, oh, we're totally fine. Like even if Carly and Marlon flip, like it's fine. Like we have Jackie, and I think Jackie will vote with us.
Yeah, and Finn really was your only blind spot there. Otherwise, you would have had the numbers if you had Finn.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, and I wasn't even thinking about it at the time.
From your comfortness, is that kind of why you didn't play in the Temple of Risk challenges, or?
No, I did not play in the Temple of Risk challenges because one of my favorite things that the comments that people make about me during the show is that when they make jokes about me being a physical threat, because it's true, I'm simply not a physical threat at all. Like I think Austin says something in the first episode, and then I think Brady also says something that's like, that girl never looks like she's never run a day in her life. And it's true. And so I think I just was like, never did the Temple of Risk challenge because I just honestly did not have the confidence in myself. Even though they weren't all physical, I think I was just like, that's not me. That's not my strong suit. But I wish I would have done one, because I think I relied too much on like the strategic and social aspect. Like that was the same with the pacer test, where I am like the second one out of there just because I like had one look at like Anissa and Big H and Marlon, and I was like, goodbye. Look at me. I will never be able to beat them. But yeah, I would. That was definitely another weakness I had, was just giving up super easily in challenges, just because I was like, there's no hope for this fragile girl.
Yeah, after the capture the flag challenge, you were the one that opted to sit out after Austin got pulled for medical reasons and had to get pulled from the challenge. Were you the first one to say, "Hey, I will sit out right now"? So
yes, I'm pretty sure I was. I'm pretty sure I volunteered, and everyone was like, "Yeah, that makes sense. Goodbye."
Yeah, so I think maybe it was Brady who complained that was like not even a disadvantage.
He was right. It was an advantage for sure.
Yeah, you're. So we get to the. I mean, we have the pacer test, and Anissa seems to be the main target in your mind. What's going on? I mean, there was so much talk at Tribal about her idol or not idol or a legacy idol, because she kept saying it's a legacy idol, but it's not an idol. What what in the world was going on there? Because
it seems like half of the cast is convinced and half of the cast thinks nothing of it.
Zach came out adamantly that he was certain that it was not an idol. She was lying about it. And you seem to believe it a little bit.
Yeah, I wish I trusted Zach more, and I did believe Zach. I'm glad that they showed Zach's thought process. Like, I feel like Zach was so instrumental during so many votes on our original tribe, and I'm like happy that this last episode is like giving him the screen time that he deserves, because he is like so smart. I feel like he's just so intelligent, and I feel like he's so like, he just is really good at being perceptive about that sort of stuff. And he was the main person that was like, guys, there's no way this is real. And I think we were just caught up in the paranoia of the moment. And it's just so much back and forth, and there was so much talk around the idol that, quite frankly, I can't even remember what I believed, but I think I was just like, it's too much of a risk to chance it. But I wish I would have trusted Zach more and just called the bluff. But I think I was just, I don't know. I was like, there's so many other things that we could do, that why not just like pause and like keep that in the back of our minds. But he was the one that was like so adamant about it, and then I feel like the rest of us just kind of like gave into the paranoia of it all.
He is arguably the biggest fan of Survivor in this cast, I think. But I did put that same exact comment on the live video. So anyone watching right now, Survivor Boston airs every Thursday on YouTube, and they are welcoming to live chats. So that's fantastic to chat along and see what's going with the players, with the fans out there. Super fun to tune in as well.
Jonathan, you were kind of the Jacob archetype of your season. How do you think he's doing so far?
Sorry, say that one more time.
You were kind of the Jacob archetype of your season. So how do you think he's doing so far? What would you change in his game if you were there in his place?
Yeah, well, I feel like it's always interesting to be like the kind of super fan of the cast, because I think even I remember Jacob Felberg like talked about like in the kind of preseason interview for me, how like you have to like avoid just going like too far in of like kind of playing into the excitement. So I feel like that's always a balance, but that's that comes more into play like when you're first getting started. So I feel like it's definitely a big advantage in a lot of ways to have seen like a lot of Survivor, and because of like instances like this, like being able to like clock like, oh wait, this is like very intricate and like this has never been done before. So like props to Zach for that.
Yeah, and recognizing that yes, it's an idol and it's more powerful than an idol.
A whole lot more powerful.
Exactly.
By what she's saying.
But Anissa was keeping with it. She's like, go strong with it. You might as well at that point, right?
Mm-hmm. It was a very intricate lie.
Like the merge. Yeah, it's so intricate, and I feel like the merge there's just so much going on at the time that it was just kind of like we didn't even have time to really think about this just because there's so much information going around. And like Zach was really the one that was like, wait, guys, this doesn't make sense. And we all were like, there's so much going on. Like, we have to figure out what we're going to do. And like, just, I don't know. I didn't even think about it.
Backing up a little bit, during the Temple of Risk challenge during this episode, Big H makes a move against Anissa and votes her out of the challenge, essentially, to try to prove that they aren't working together. From all the confessionals we've seen so far, nobody's really onto it. Everyone thought Big H and Anthony were a pair. Were you onto the pair of Anissa and Big H at all?
No, I wasn't, honestly. I feel like I was never onto their pair. I don't think I got a chance to really understand a lot of what was happening on Katai. Like I knew somewhat through Jackie and through Austin, but I feel like I didn't get a chance to really like get to know a lot of the people on that tribe and like figure out where the relationships and alliances were.
I think that's also the big difference between like a college survivor and regular survivor is like on regular survivor, if people are aligned, like at some point you could probably see them like walking off together or talking. But with college survivor, it's so much harder to like know like who's close to like who.
Oh, did I say Jacob
Yeah, and
Fallberg archetype? I meant Zach. Did I say
Yeah,
Zach?
that's what I got
That's
confused.
okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I meant Zach. Sorry, Jacob's not in the game. I meant Zach is the archetype. Sorry.
We all get one typo in this episode, all right? So it's Jackie's birthday and it's the Zach archetype.
I know who's in the game, right? Yeah, that's a thing. Okay.
Well, I was,
Sorry.
I was like, wait, like I looked at my notes, like, am I forgetting a Jacob in the game?
Yeah, no, there's no Jacob in this season. Okay, cool. It's a merge. Everyone's learning names.
Merge, 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Sorry.
how is the feeling going into a merge, Maddie? Like, you have a small group of like 5 or 6 that you're chatting with. Like, those are the only people you have to chat with. Now you have to chat with essentially 10 people. You're doubling the size. Is that a whole lot more stressful trying to connect with everyone as much as you can, especially going to college at the same time?
Yeah, it's super stressful. I mean, I feel like Jonathan, I feel like you can speak to this too. It's just like, it's just, I think merge is just, this sounds so cliche, but it just feels like it gets really real at that point. And I think it's really intimidating because it's almost like you're a what's that phrase? Like I feel like before merge, I felt like a big fish in a small pond, and then at merge, you're just a fish in the pond. And I think, I mean, this kind of goes back to like my game and just I getting too comfortable. I think I didn't anticipate that going into the merge how much harder it would be to like make these connections because as much as like like there were some big players on my original tribe. There was also that same thing happening on the other tribe, and it's easy to like get really caught up in your game. And I feel like that's everyone that we've seen so far that has been voted off. It's like there's so many good players, and I feel like any of those people could have won. But I feel like all of us, you just get really stuck in your game, and like I think everyone in their confessionals gets very like, I know what's going on and I'm not suspicious of it. Like I have all the facts. And I just think like, it's funny watching it back because I watch that and I cringe and I'm like, oh my God, I am the worst character watching this. But it's like all of us are like that. And and I think, so going into the merge, I think everyone kind of has this like, everyone has like a little bit of a superiority complex to an extent, and you're just with more people that have that.
I mean, being in the game, you don't know, of course, everything going on. What was one of like the biggest surprises you've seen of the season so far?
The biggest surprise was the merge, the most recent episode when Zach was talking about how he might be closer. He was figuring out whether he wanted to stick with me and Swetha or whether he wanted to stick with Anna. Like, that was so shocking to me, just because, like, for me, I was like, oh no, like Swetha and Zach, like that's like my alliance still. And we were only separated for like a couple rounds, but that was definitely like a huge shock. But I mean, it makes sense. Like, obviously they were on the same tribe, but yeah, I don't know. That was a big shock to me. And I was like not really expecting that. But also, I think so maybe it's good I got voted out, because I don't know. I just wonder what would have happened if I stayed.
So the merge is kind of like the entire Big Brother game, because everyone's playing for themselves at that point. And I wanted to ask you, which Big Brother player do you think you're most like?
I think that I am compared a lot to Nicole, which I hate because of my
Nicole
voice.
Franzel.
Yes. I think I don't know as much anymore, but I definitely used to. I don't know. Sometimes I get like a Midwestern accent, and so I feel like sometimes I'm compared a lot to her. But I feel like I'm more of a Dan, maybe a combination of like Nicole and Dan Giesling as like what I feel like I'm like.
I
But
don't follow Big
like
Brother
Nicole
much,
just in
but two
terms of like
power players.
mannerisms.
Nice choice.
Yeah, Nicole in
she's
terms of
one
like
of the most
mannerisms,
successful
not in terms of
players.
personality.
She's one of the most successful players ever, and she only made it a little bit past merge her first season. Past jury her first season. So maybe there is some comparison, and if you come back and play another game, you can win, like Nicole did. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's true. I think there definitely is some similarities with me and her. I think especially in like her earlier seasons of Big Brother, I feel like I would compare myself more to.
Is that possibly something you'd be interested in doing another Big Brother game, or even just a Survivor game, or just another live reality game in general?
I think so. I feel like I would want to try a Big Brother game because I've never played a Big Brother org or anything. I've only played Survivor orgs and Survivor live games. And I feel like as someone that watches Big Brother, I feel like I would want to try playing Big Brother.
Well, there are games casting right now for anyone at home as well that are interested. We have a group called LRG Casting over on Facebook, Live Reality Games Casting. So everyone that's casting right there will have their applications on. And of course, we're going to start the new year 2021 here very shortly. Time is running out for the year 2020, which is a good thing in most cases. But
Dustyn is always ready with the plugs. He's He's on it. So Maddie, okay, at the tribal, you get voted out. You stand up and you're like, I know who it is. I know who voted me out, and then you're like, never mind, I'm not gonna say nothing. So, okay, who did you have in your mind? Like, what was the name you wanted to call out but you didn't?
So everyone was so infuriated that I said nothing, but the reason was because it wasn't me trying to be like, ooh, I'm going to have like my moment. It wasn't that at all. It was because the name I was going to say Anna. And the reason that because I really, when I got voted out, I really thought that it was more Anna than Finn. Like just because I was already like that week, I had all these like confessionals where I was like getting suspicious of her. And I was like, I feel like she's going to turn on us at some point. So I thought it was Anna. But the reason I didn't say anything is because I was like, in my mind, I was like, what if it's not Anna and it is Finn? I don't want, even though I knew both of them flipped, I was like, I don't know for sure. And I don't want to like fuck up their games if like one of them was actually, like me, I don't really know the situation. Like I was so blindsided. I was like, I didn't want to fuck up Anna's game if like there was a chance that, she was put against the wall and everything like that. So that's why I didn't say anything. Just because there was, I don't know, there's going to be a lot up in the air for the future.
Oh, that's so exciting to
And
hear.
there was like
And
a lot up in the air at the time.
Next episode is Thursday at 8 p.m. So I'm super excited that you're excited to say that there's so much up in the air too for this upcoming season. So we've seen so much so far. I'm just excited to see where this goes, just in general. I know Nathan wants to do a prediction. I'm sure I see him itching to make a prediction.
I've always got predictions.
Of course you do. Yeah.
Well, I think we're in a really interesting spot.
If you're going to make a prediction, I need to cover my face because, again, I am a bad liar. So I need to. So if you're going to make a prediction, tell me.
Okay.
Tell me so that I can like. And I'm not going to say anything. I won't.
Okay, cover your face.
I'm a mess.
For everyone at the podcast, Maddie is now wearing a mask, so we are covered for spoilers.
Okay. Well,
and I'm not going to respond. I'm going to be like,
this
okay.
just seems to be the state of the game. You know, Anissa's name is out there. She's the big target still. Mm-hmm. But of course, the vote went against Zach and Swatha, not Jacob and Swatha. But I think Zach still has an in with Anna, and I think he can recover there, and Jackie can still kind of recover there. I mean, it kind of seems like if the trajectory continues, Swatha would be in trouble, and if it doesn't, is Finn and Carly, are they really going to work with Big H and Anissa, or are they going to swing back? And I think that Finn has now tasted blood, and he wants more. He wants more blood. He wants more blindside. Finn is thirsty for another blindside, and I think Finn is going to try to flip again. He's going to flip again, and he's going to find himself in trouble because someone else is going to catch on finally. He's directing. This will be the third vote he's going to try to manufacture. He's going to go after Anissa, and someone's going to be like, wait a minute, what about Finn? We don't need to go after Anissa. We can burn her legacy idol and get out Finn at the same time, just like they were going to do it with Hallie's vote. You know, they're going to repeat the same thing, and yeah, Finn's going out. That's my prediction.
It looks like we have a viewer on YouTube, Jacob K, agreeing with you, saying Finn is a bloodhound. Finn wants blood. If that's not the case, I could see something like this happening. I do think votes are going to go for Anissa really soon. She has way too much power. I'll try to speak more vaguely, Maddie. Maddie's covering her face back up again. I do think they're going to go for Anissa. Anissa was very clear that she has power. Anna made a point of mentioning it at Tribal. Carly made a point of mentioning it at Tribal. So I'm sure votes are going to go for Anissa. Anissa's probably going to have to play her idol or just confess saying, hey, folks, I'm sorry. I hope you would take this as a game move. I lied to everyone. I kept everyone on the same playing ground, but I'm going to play my idol right here. So I think that she's going to do that and come clean, and I think that's going to be seen as a huge game move.
But someone like Swatha is not going to just be okay with Maddie being voted out. Swatha is going to be out for blood, and she's going to figure out that it was Finn that flipped, and then she's going to be willing to throw Finn's name out there. And when Finn's name is out there, I think he becomes a viable option.
I think she's one of the seniors. I think Jackie's one of the seniors too. I think they're going to get together and start working on something together. I don't know how far this foursome without Maddie. Maddie was the person tying this group of five together, I really feel. So I think Swatha, Jackie might end up in the same trajectory at some point and start working together as seniors and having the relationship they started to with Maddie. And I think they're going to kindle that and work more together. So.
Jonathan, are you spoiled for this season, or can you make a prediction as well?
Yeah, I am spoiled, but I can speak vaguely in that what I like about this vote for just the trajectory of the season is that so often the merge vote is just the easy compromise like Hallie would have been. But I think that this opens up the doors for so many more possibilities, and like you were both highlighting, there is the potential for more cross-tribal stuff, for more people to actually kind of entertained working with each other.
Jessica has a good point. We've been predicting Finn is out for blood since day one. Since even like the early precast assessment,
he's been about half of my boot predictions since we started this season. So he's just going to come
Finn
true.
has
Probably
been the biggest surprise for all of us. Myself, you, and Austin. I think we predicted Finn as one of the earlier boots, and he's lasted a lot longer than we all thought. So props to Finn.
He's proving me wrong constantly, and good on him.
Well, folks, we pretty much covered everything. Maddie, you will be joining us on jury, so we're still excited to see you. And especially like your final jury speech, like coming from your confessionals, you're very nice. In front of people, and then confessionals, you are pretty much like Finn. You're out for blood. Like, you know how the game, and you have a strategic mastermind behind you. So I'm really excited to see how you address the finalists when we do get there. So,
Maddie, you were everything I'd love to watch in a player. You were cutthroat. You don't give a crap about what's nice. You care about what's good for your game, and that's fun to watch. I would hate to play with you because that'd be terrifying, but it's fun to watch, and I'm sorry that you went out this soon, because more episodes with you would have been great.
I totally agree. Maddie, you're super nice in person. I probably wouldn't be scared of you in person. I'd be like, oh, she's my best friend and everything, and then 2 seconds later, you would stab me in the back, and I'd be like, oh man. But
that's
you would be like, oh,
so
this was
weird
the
about
way
watching the episodes. That's what's so weird about watching the episodes. Is like I feel like I was not letting a lot of my personality show just because I was so in this like. I feel like I was like a persona. Like I remember playing the game and being like, I remember like the first episode being like, I want to be a villain. Like, even though I don't think I got that edit. Like I don't really know what kind of edit I got, but I remember just being like super serious, and like I was like, I don't care if I have fans. Like I also was like, I remember I was like, I want to play the game, and I don't know if how I played the game is how I would have played if I was on like a real show, if I was on the actual Survivor, just because I think if I was on actual Survivor, I would play a little more low key at the beginning, but I think I wanted to like make moves just because I wanted to know like what it felt like to have that sort of power. But yeah, it's funny watching myself because I agree, like I seem so mean and like angry during the show, and I'm like scared watching myself. And yeah, I don't know, it's just like really weird watching yourself play a character almost, because it's such a exaggeration of who you really are. And I feel like other Survivor Boston players, I don't know, Jonathan, if you experience this as well, like I've talked to other season 4 players and we all kind of like feel the same, where it's just weird watching yourself because you feel, you're amping it up for the cameras and you're playing a persona, and it's really. So I'm glad I got to do this interview, because I'm glad to like show off my real personality, because I feel like I smile a lot more in real life than I do in the show.
Yeah, you mentioned words like mean and stuff like that. I didn't see that at all. I thought it was more like concentrated and methodical and more strategic.
The word that comes to mind is queen bee. You were running the hive.
Very true. And then Jessica also says robbed queen as well. So
I love Jess.
Do think
I wish I got to work with them.
Jonathan, any last thoughts about this latest episode before we?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this episode showed like the level of gameplay here, because there would have been, like I was saying earlier, there were so many ways that this could have gone, which would have been, really predictable or not really worked to everyone's benefit. And it just was so cool seeing everyone like really kind of thinking out like what is best for my individual game. And I feel like that was such an interesting storyline to see, of just a shift from like the kind of team mentality that like Hallie was talking about a lot in Tribal versus just like trying to do what's best for your game, regardless of who falls from that.
Maddie, any big takeaways from this experience? What have you learned? Any culminating statements or thoughts before we go?
I mean, it was really fun. I really hope to. The biggest thing I feel like I would take away is because I feel like even though I was very cutthroat during the game, I feel like once I got voted off, I was like, that checks out. Like I wasn't. I think that is like the cool thing about this season is there's so many good players that I feel like I have the mentality, and I think I said this in the first episode at some point that I don't think that there are any weak players. I think every player has the potential to win. And I feel like every player like has their weaknesses, and like I definitely have mine. Like as overconfident as I sound in my confessionals, like I definitely have like so many weaknesses as a player. And so I think it's been like really fun, and I hope to see, like I'm excited to see a lot more confessionals from the other players, because I really do admire so many of the players in the game. And I hope to see more confessionals of Swatha and Zach, because I really do feel like, especially I think Zach started getting his edit, which I'm glad about. And I feel like Swatha, I want to see more of her, because Swatha was like also super instrumental in all those beginning votes on our tribe. And I feel like she is like literally one of the most intelligent people I've ever met. And I just like want to see more of her confessionals, because I feel like we haven't seen enough of her yet.
Yeah, in our early cast assessment, Swatha was the highest overall for all of us three for the predictions. We all put her like super far. So I'm excited to see her too, maybe come out and get those more confessionals too. Quick shout out to the folks joining us at home. Jacob, of course. Olivia. We have Austin. Cassiana?
Cassiani.
Cassiani.
Cassiani. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Jessica, and of course, Jacob. Charlie joined us as well, and Austin, if I didn't say that yet. So, Nathan, any final thoughts?
Yeah, this is a fun train to be riding. So let's see the next stop on Thursday.
Jacob, Charlie, Phoebe, everybody working that production team for Survivor Boston. Survivor Boston airs on YouTube Thursdays at 8 p.m. Check out the coverage here at Live Related Games on Facebook, anywhere you find podcasts. And that is it for tonight. Thanks, Maddie. Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks, Nathan, for hanging out. And we'll see you in about a week.